Story time with CandyC. All things basic training and military. So why did I decide to join the military? What happened was my husband was in the military and he joined 2009 when our middle child was about 2 weeks old. That's when he went to basic training. So we already had a 1-year-old, and then we had a 2-week-old, and he went off and joined the military. So being a military spouse, we traveled. We went to our first duty station, which was in Tennessee. I was a stay-at-home mom. Then we went to our next duty station in Hawaii. I was a stay-at-home mom. And when you're a stay-at-home mom, it's tough. Like, you're with the kids 24/7. Even when daddy got home, I was still with the kids 24/7. So it didn't really give me an opportunity to have a job. It didn't give me an opportunity to have much of a life of my own because I was still being a mom and a wife 24/7. So I decided to go to school, further my education. And when we moved to North Carolina, which was the third duty station, I was like, I was already in the process of doing my master's degree and in HR. And I was like, you know what am I going to do? Because I've had little jobs here and there, but I actually want a career. Like, how can I get a career for myself and still, do the things that I want to do? So I tried to look for jobs. I was looking for jobs like every day, and everybody wants experience, and everybody wants you to have your degree already. And I'm like, look, this is tough. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was really tough. So I weighed my options and I was like, okay, well, how can I get a career while my husband is in the military and I'm a spouse? And I mean, it kind of went from there. I looked into the Army, looked into the Air Force. The age requirement for the Army was like, you got to be 34 by the time you sign the contract. And I think at the time I was like 33. So that was pressure for me to be like, all right, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm just going to do it. So that's what I did. I went ahead and did it. And I signed the contract before I turned 34. Or was I 34 already? I might have been 34 because my birthday is in March and I signed the contract. No, I was 33 when I signed the contract because I was still taking classes and they allowed me to finish my classes before I went off to basic training. So I think I had like a 4-month period from the time that I signed the contract to the time that I actually went to basic training. And, of course, I wasn't going to sign the dotted line if it wasn't a bonus involved and if they didn't have the actual job that I wanted, which was HR. So I went to the recruiting office. I was like, look, this is the job I want. And at first he's like, oh, it's not available. And I was like, well, I'm not joining. So then, they made some phone calls and stuff like that. And by the time I went to like the processing building, they had the job available. So I went ahead and took the job and, I left home August 2018 to South Carolina to go off to basic training. But let's talk about my mental space during that process because it wasn't easy to make the decision. I was concerned for my husband being at home with the children. I had to ask all the questions like, are you sure you can do their hair? Are you sure you can, do the whole school thing with them when they're in school? Are you sure, you can cook them breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? He's like, yeah, I got it. Do what you got to do. This is what you want. This is what, you need for your career moving forward. I got this. That was his thing. I got this. I got this. I was like, oh no. Like in the back of my mind, I just kept thinking like, he's about to be a stay-at-home dad with 3 kids. that just kept playing in my mind. Every time I went to sleep, I was thinking that, like, how is that going to be possible? So even though I already signed the contract, there was no moving back from then. So I had to really pray. I had a lot of conversations with my mom. I had to have a lot of conversations with my husband, because now I'm starting, as time was getting closer, I'm starting to doubt everything. So what I did was I tried to make things easy for him. Yeah, because we're so used to doing everything, and I'm used to like doing it all. I'm used to doing the cooking, the cleaning, making sure they go to their doctor's appointments, doing their hair, making sure that, you know, homework is done. Like, I was used to doing all that. Bills. Okay. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm about to leave my husband in charge of the bills, in charge of finances, in charge of budgeting, something that he hasn't done for 10 years of our marriage at that time. Like, I was going crazy, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And then hearing stories of other people going to basic training and how you're treated in basic training, I'm like, hold up. I am a full adult. I am 33, 34 years old, about to listen to a 20-year-old give me orders. Like, this is about to be real new for me. So in preparation of me actually getting on that bus and going to South Carolina, I meal prepped breakfast for him. So I made him like breakfast sandwiches and wrapped them up in foil and put them all in the freezer so he can just grab, heat up, and go. I made probably about 5 dishes or 5 meals that he can just pop in the oven and go. So I tried to make the first month or the first few weeks as easy for him as possible. And even as far as like bills, like I wrote down every company. I wrote down the contact numbers to every company, the passwords. I wrote down who to pay on the 1st, who to pay on the 15th. Like, I laid everything out. I wrote a schedule out for him and for the girls because he was going to go to school too. So he was going to stay at home. He didn't have to go into work, but the plan was for him to stay at home. He was going to go to school part-time, and then the kids were in school. They had just started school. So they just started school on August 27th, and I left August 28th. So I was able to see them on their first day of school. So that was pretty dope. But look, I'm telling you, like, I had so much anxiety and I was so stressed. And my mom just kept saying, you know, your husband is their father. Like, she just kept saying that he's their father. He should be capable. He is capable of being their father. And I'm like, yeah, he's their father, but he doesn't know what to do when they get sick, or he doesn't know how to make them tea in the middle of the night when they have a tummy ache. And he doesn't know that, you know, this is our routine. And he was like, he'll figure it out. My mom was like, he'll figure it out. So I just kept like having to like reassure myself, like, he will figure it out. He's going to be there as a father. He's going to do what works for him. He's going to work together with the children and figure it out. But man, I'm like, whoo, because, you know, when things like that happen, that's when things happen. So like, that's when like all 3 girls are probably going to get sick at the same time, or something's going to go wrong in the house, or, you know, I just thought the worst. And I really had to build myself up to go through with the decision that I was making, not just for myself, but for the whole family, because that's not a decision that you have to just deal with on your own. It affects everybody. It affects not just my immediate family, but it affects his family, and it affects, you know, family outside of my immediate family. So yeah, so the whole time from the day that I signed that contract to the day that I left, it was a lot of preparing. It was a lot of self-talk. It was a lot of putting things in order. It was, me teaching my oldest daughter some things like, look, if you notice that daddy didn't do XYZ, it's okay to remind him. And I told her, I was like, if you see daddy just walking around in his underwear, it's okay to say, daddy, you might want to put some pants on. Like, it was just like little conversations like that came to my mind that I thought, maybe they should know. And I'm going to tell you more, Eats. I didn't realize that until I got back. That and it sucks because as a wife, I shouldn't doubt my husband's capabilities, and I should always be supportive, and I try. But also as a mother and a human being, you have to, think about those things and wonder, okay, well, is he really able to take care of the family? And that was my main concern. I didn't care about, going into it not being able to do a push-up. I didn't care about going into it and, getting my hands dirty. My main thing was, is my family going to be okay at home while mommy's gone? And I tell you, he did hold it down, but we're going to talk about, the mishaps along the way as we go further into other story times. But I wanted to pretty much like give you the beginning of how it started and where my mindset was. And it's funny because my whole family has kind of like a military background. Like, my dad was a drill sergeant. My sister joined the military. Well, she was in the reserves. My mom joined the military. When I was in high school, I did ROTC. And I told myself I would never join the military because I did not want to wear a uniform. Like, I just didn't think that I looked good in my ROTC uniform. And I was like, ugh. And, even when my husband joined, I was like, yeah, he can have that because I don't want to do it. So he would come home and tell me stories about work and stuff like that. And I'm like, no. But the good thing about joining the military is that every day is going to be different. And that's what I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to doing something different, doing something outside of my normal life, because all this time I was a military spouse and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was doing school and picking up, small jobs along the way. And I felt like this experience would be a good way for me to do something different and challenge myself and what's the word? I don't know, like build confidence in myself, because I always doubt myself when I'm going into something new. Like, even with school, I doubt that I'll be successful or whatever. So I thought it was a good opportunity for me to kind of like step out of my comfort zone and do something that kind of seemed interesting. Because I'm like, I would watch videos on, being in basic training and going to the advanced training afterwards and just being in the military period. I would watch videos and I'm like, that sounds kind of interesting. Like, I don't like being outside and I don't like doing physical activity, but it sounds interesting. And my physical activity was minimal. Like, I didn't do push-ups. I couldn't run. Every time I would run or exercise, like my legs would itch and my arms would burn, and I could not stand doing physical activity. So that's another thing that I did to prepare myself. Like, before I went in, was I was like, all right, now that I'm going to go to basic training and I'm gonna have to work out, I'm just going to walk around the neighborhood every day, or I'm a power walk around the neighborhood. So I got outside every day with the daggone stroller, because our youngest was in the stroller at the time. I went outside and I power walked around the whole neighborhood. Sometimes I would do a little jog to the stop sign, but I try to like get my body used to moving so it wouldn't be such a shock when I went into basic training. And I think it helped a little bit because I was already in that mindset, like, this is what I'm gonna have to do. So I'm gonna tell you I don't know if y'all saw my other video on me introducing this live, but I have this whole box of stuff that I bought back with me from training, like letters that I wrote, letters that was well, actually these aren't even letters that I wrote. These are letters that I received while in training, and journaling that I did, and pictures that my husband sent me. And I want to go through this box. I opened it yesterday, but I haven't really went through it, and I want to go through it with y'all and kind of like share some stories and share some experiences, share the moments, you know, where I cried, the moments that were most enjoyable, the moments where I was in pain. Because I tell you, that period of time was tough. And if I go deeper into it, it's really emotional. Like, it was a really emotional period because you're with a lot of people that have a lot of different backgrounds and different situations. And you're, the Navy calls them Dear John letters. These aren't any Dear John letters, okay? We ain't had no Dear John and Dear Jane letters, even though people, the drill sergeants there try to tell you like, oh, don't even worry about your family back home because your husband's probably with somebody else anyway. But we'll get into that another time. Ooh. Oh. Sorry, I just got fussed at a little bit. But yeah, so in this box is going to be so many things that is going to bring up different memories that I want to share with you all. And it's only going to be 30 minutes each day. Kimmy, if you want to join the military one day, hit me up. We can definitely talk about it. The process. So I keep getting fussed at, y'all. Y'all can't even see. Y'all know Brother Herb isn't a quiet person, so he's fussing at me with his eyes. And I apologize. I'm not supposed to be reading the chat, so y'all. Okay, let me do this because I keep reading the chat. So, before you actually ship out, there are some things that you have to do, and so you have to be qualified physically. You have to meet a lot of different requirements. So I'm trying to remember because it's kind of fuzzy. So I have to like go back 2 years in my brain. So we had to do physicals, and the physicals is not by yourself. Like, you're with other females or other people of your, you know, the same gender. And it's about 5 of y'all in a room. You got to take a pregnancy test. They have to watch you do it. You have to pee in a cup. Well, you pee in a cup and they do the pregnancy test on their own. So you got to pee in a cup. They watch you do it. It don't matter if you're on your cycle or not. You have to do this physical in just bra and panties with 5 other women. And I'm not, and I wasn't the most comfortable with my body because three children do some things to your body. So I'm already uncomfortable being in this room with 5 other women, and we're all in bra and panties. So now you're like, you know, kind of checking each other out and seeing, you know, what everybody working with, what's going on. And this one chick, I kid you not, this one female that was in there with me, she got denied because she was 1 pound over. 1 pound. They told her, it was either 1 or 2 pounds. They told her that she has to come back in a week or 2 weeks or something like that after she lost that 1 pound. Like, they don't play. Like, they tell you this is you have to be this height and this weight. And if you're not, and she was probably that height and that weight when she signed up, and then when it was time for the physical, she didn't make it, but they could have let her go. Like 1 pound, you know she's gonna lose that pound in basic training. Like, you know that. She probably went to basic training and lost 10 pounds. But they were like, nope, you are not going in unless you meet the weight requirement. Yeah, Kimmy. But so yeah, you have to do the physical, you have to do like this little duck walk or whatever. And so it's good to make sure you're clean. It's good to make sure you're shaved. It's good to make sure your panties match your bra. And they tell you not to wear like decorative underwear or like the Victoria's Secret type stuff. This one chick was in there. She had on lace drawers. You are not supposed to be wearing lace. And I think the lady said something to her, but they were like, you know, whatever. But you have to wear a certain type of bra and panties. You got to like make sure you can go like this on your fingers and make sure, you know, everything works properly. They look at your whole body. They'll ask you, what is that scar? I had a burn mark. I don't even know where it is. But I had a burn mark somewhere, and they were even like, what is that from? And I was like, oh, I burned myself a long time ago, taking something out the oven. So they're real strict about your physical capabilities, your appearance. So that's all like doing the requirements that you have to do and that you have to meet leading up to your ship date or your ship time. And then even still, once you get closer to that time, they do a whole nother screening before you actually get on the bus to make sure that you still meet those requirements that you met, you know, when you did your initial screening. So I had to, I don't know if y'all saw one of my videos, my lock video about my hair. I had to dye my hair all black because you weren't allowed to have any color in your hair. So I had to dye my hair all black and things like that. So even the joining in process was tough. And I was like, man, and at this point it's a done deal. You about to be a part of the army, or you already a part of the army. They already own you. So it was a lot of changes even in the beginning before getting there. So I just wanted to kind of give, before I went through all the stuff that I have here, I just wanted to give y'all like a brief introduction to, you know, why I joined the military and the steps that I had to take up until I actually left. And if I'm like open to ask questions for this last 5 minutes, if there's any questions or anything that I missed. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, Byron McKinley was saying that someone got turned away because they're tattoos. They check all your tattoos, and you better not get a new tattoo after they done checked all your tattoos and documented all your tattoos. Like everything has to be lined up with their standards. So tomorrow we're going to get into what's in this box. But like I said, I just wanted to let y'all know where my mindset was when I first joined, why I decided to join, and the process leading up to me having to leave. And I'm going to tell you, probably the hardest, the most challenging thing was getting on that bus. That was the most challenging thing, getting on the bus. And the reason why that was the most challenging is because all your family, the family that you want there when you leave, is standing outside the bus. You know, I think I had, part 2 is going to be awesome. Christina's World said, when I got in trouble, sometimes did I cry hard and loud or soft and quiet? You don't want nobody to see you cry. So yeah, the hardest thing was getting on the bus and looking out the window and seeing my mom, my husband, my sister, my sister's kids, my kids, and other family members saying bye to their soon-to-be soldier. That was the toughest. That was a long ride, I tell you that. So tomorrow, my bad. This is happening every day, not weekly. So tomorrow will be part 2, and we're going to get into this box and maybe, I don't know, start with journaling, start with the day that I got to reception and how I realized that I'm going to be looking at women for a really long time. Yeah. That was weird and different and very interesting at the same time. Thank you for rocking with me during my lunch break. If anybody has any questions, comments, or whatever, make sure you leave those questions or comments on my IG at Candy. Shoot, let me just put my IG up here real quick because I cannot remember my IG. Yeah, CandyC 0314 is my IG. Hit me up on IG. Leave a comment below on this video, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye. We paper chasing, yeah, we own